Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Yes, it is Thursday morning. It just keeps rolling around, don't you think? It just keeps coming around and around. Every week we have a Thursday. Um, Unfortunately for me, the last couple of weeks, it's come around maybe a little bit too fast because I'm trying very, very hard to. I've got all sorts of things to do, but we can talk about that in a minute. Before we talk about what's going on, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who, as always, is to my right side. I'd like to say good morning to Chris, and I'd like to say good morning to all of you out there who hopefully are, even as we're speaking, hopefully you are coming on, clicking on, or whatever it is, joining us for our regular weekly show, which, what do we call it? The spirit world sees all, and boy, oh boy, do they see all. If they saw my house at the minute, they'd be ashamed of me, although they know I'm trying desperately to get. So it looks like I'm spring cleaning. Have you noticed, if you look behind me, and you see there behind me, all the shelves but one are empty, and as soon as this show is over, that one's going to be empty, because I'm getting ready for the decorators to come in. Imagine, for years and years I did my own decorating. I'm great at wallpapering, only because I was never in a position to afford to have somebody else come and do it. So you learn, and I was pretty good at it. And so all of the painting and the decorating and all of that sort of thing was just, I did it myself. But the walls in this house, very high ceilings in certain parts of this house. I am not climbing a 6-foot ladder in order to get up there, and it's not going to happen. So we're having the decorators, so we're having to prepare to take everything. I'm sure you've all done it, right? To get everything off the shelves, everything, all the trinkets and the knickknacks and the photographs and it's scary. I mean, I have scared myself witless because, they're just things that you have around, and you have them around, and yes, okay, you dust, you clean, you tidy, you do all of those things. So you know that they're there. However, until you start actually taking them down, you have no real clue, or I should say, I had no real clue of how much, I won't say clutter because I've got some nice stuff, but still, how much of this stuff do you need in your life? How many photographs do you need of your daughter and your grandson around the place? And I have to tell you, I've got a lot. And, why do we need all of this stuff in our lives? So I know that, it's March, we're into March. I hope you all got the newsletter. I hope you liked it. So, traditionally, March is the month of St. Patrick's Day. March is the month of, what do we celebrate on St. Patrick's Day? I suppose we celebrate Ireland and all things Irish or what have you. And, I grew up, we used to go to a place in the south of England, which is Cornwall in England, where leprechauns abound. Yes, there are Cornish leprechauns. And of course, in Ireland, there are Irish leprechauns. They are everywhere. And, lots of people spend so much time looking for the rainbow and the pot of gold, which is at the end of the rainbow, which we know the leprechauns hide, don't they? But March is a fun month for all of that stuff. And but traditionally, we used to also have March as the month of spring cleaning. Now, my mother, I never remember us spring cleaning because my mother worked all the time. But if you grew up in a household where the mother stayed at home and she did the cooking and the cleaning and all that stuff, and you came home from school and there was dinner on the table. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine that? Well, some of you may have had that. Um, I can remember, I mean, the majority of my life growing up, you come home from school, winter, summer, fall, it didn't matter what time of month it was, and the house was empty, or if one of your sisters had gotten in there first, they were there, but there was, even in the winter time, there was no fire crackling away. You didn't come home to a warm fire, you came home to a cold house. You went into the pantry, you got your 2 slices of bread and you buttered them and stuck marmalade in the middle, and that was your dinner. Then my mother would probably arrive home at around 6ish from work, and if you didn't have the kettle on and the tea in the teapot, you were in huge trouble, because the first thing she wanted to do when she walked through the door was have a cup of tea. I mean, I remember the odd times when she might have a day off, or when my father left the army, he might be there. But I mean, there were very rare times, you can count on the fingers of maybe 2 hands the amount of times all through my growing up when you walked through the door and there was a fire. But I do remember those times. I remember walking into the house on that very odd day, when there was a fire, and it was warm, and there were people in the house, and even if nobody spoke to anybody, it was still, there was a crackling fire, and you walked in, and I can still remember the feel of that, and the comfort of that was amazing to me. But because my mother worked, we never did the spring cleaning. So I'm figuring here that I'm emptying all my services, getting rid of, putting away in boxes, not getting rid of all of my knick-knacky stuff, as I call it. And even as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, when I come to put all of this back, everything has to be washed, and all the shelves have to be washed out. Everything's going to have to be or sort of whatever. I'm thinking it's a good time for spring cleaning. Maybe I'll get rid of some of this stuff. And I was talking to my daughter about it, and she said, "Don't get rid of it till you've shown it to me." It's like, okay, well, I'd really thought there was nothing in my house that she particularly wanted that she'd want to keep. But she surprised me, because if you can see behind me all my collection, I've been collecting that stuff since I was 20 something. You think I'd have more of it. I don't want more of it, I'm good. But I've been collecting that stuff, and it's something I really love. She said, "Well, don't get rid of all of that. I won't want all of it, but I want some of the bigger pieces." And I was quite surprised. And I said, "Well, I didn't think you liked it." So she said, "No, but it's you, Mum. It's been in the house since I was a little girl. It's you. Since I was born, you've always had it there. It's you." And I would never want to get rid of that. And I thought, wow, how nice is that she wants a piece of me. There are lots of pieces of me. We're still clearing out. I'm still doing the spring cleaning. But I will, before I get rid of things, say to her, "Do you want this, or do you want that, or what have you?" But I was thinking this morning, not only is March a good time for cleaning the house, spring cleaning your house, trying to get rid of stuff that you don't need and so on. I've been doing quite a bit of that over the last few years, 3 or 4 years. But I was also thinking that it would be a great time also for spring cleaning the mind as well as the house, because let's face it, the most important thing we can get rid of are all that stuff that creates, I don't know, what's it create? It creates negativity, and it creates dissent, and it creates upset, and so I was thinking that maybe, we could sort of think about cleaning out or getting rid of any negative thoughts. And it's easy to say, let's get rid of negative thoughts, but I was thinking, and I'm going to think about this during the show, and towards the end of the show, I'm going to give you a thought, right? Because if you're trying to get rid of the negativity, if you're trying to get rid of a negative thought, yeah, it's easy to say it and we can do it, except it creeps back in, doesn't it? It has this habit of creeping back in. And there you are, back to square one with the negativity. And I thought, Well, maybe we could have a thought or a sentence or something that every time we feel those negative thoughts creeping in, maybe we could replace that thought with another thought, with a good thought, with something that we could maybe introduce into our mind, into our heart, into our soul, into our spirit, that reminds us of, we've got to keep this clean. We've got to keep our mind nice and clean and get rid of all the dust and get rid of all that stuff that is cluttering up our minds and making us feel so negative all the time. So I'll think on it. If you guys are listening, hopefully, if you guys can think of anything that you might have an idea of a thought that we could put in our mind, in our head, that shoves out the negative or reminds us to keep out the negative, put it up in the chat room. We'll pay attention to whatever it is that you have to say, and maybe we'll even, instead of me giving you something, maybe one of you can find something in there that we can use to make sure that we get rid of the negative and keep it out. Keep those thoughts out, those angry thoughts, those bitter thoughts, those fearful thoughts, so all of the negativity that is so prevalent in so many people today. Let's find something good to put in our head that we can think about, which makes us smile, which helps us to create positivity. So I think spring cleaning your house or not, I'm being forced to because the painters are coming in fairly soon. I've got a couple of weeks grace, but they're coming in, which means I got to get cracking. I've got to get moving on all of this stuff. But instead of, or as well as cleaning out your house or spring cleaning the house, getting rid of the cobwebs, so on and so forth, I think we should try not just spring cleaning the house, or even if it's just spring cleaning one room, but I think we should try spring cleaning our minds as well. Don't you think that's a good idea? I think it's a good idea. Now, Chris.
Yes.
Is there anybody there? Have I been talking to myself?
No, there's lots of people in the chat room. They've all
Okay.
got comments,
Oh,
interestingly enough, about
great.
the
Let's
spring
have.
cleaning. Gary came in first, and we know our Gary. He says, I don't dust. I wait and use a shovel. Just kidding, he says.
Yeah, actually, I've been in his house. It was as clean as a whistle. So come on, Gary. I know that's not true.
Let's see. Kay is on from England saying, I dare not start spring cleaning. I'd never stop.
Yeah, I've been in Kay's house as well. I know exactly what she means. She,
Lonica. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Lonica, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, says, my brains, I absolutely need a cleaning.
Good. Well, come see if we can think of something or come up with something before the end of the show that we can just put that thought in, and every time sort of anger or frustration or irritation or negativity in any way comes, we feel it creeping in, because we can work so hard at getting rid of it, but the way to get rid of it is to replace it with something else. And so we need a thought. It could be 3 words. It could be like a mantra that reminds us. We'll talk about what a mantra is in a minute if you'd like me to. Somebody was telling me that they had a mantra the other day, and I'm thinking, okay, that's not a mantra as I understand it. So I'm going to, maybe a mantra of some kind is what we're looking for, that we can use. And if we get used to using, if we say, okay, every day in the month of March we're going to use this particular mantra, maybe we'll get so used to using it, and maybe it will work so well that we'll continue to use it whenever the negativity comes in. So we'll see. Okay, keep going with the comments, Chris.
Annika says, I have too much stuff too. I don't even know where to start. I'm with you there, Kay.
Right.
Let's see. Cheryl's in contention with Gary, I think, here.
Oh,
Cheryl says, I can't push out the negative because I live with him. LOL.
oh, oh dear. Oh, oh, golly, what to say to that? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, okay, well, you can still try. You can see, you know, that brings up a point, because I've been talking about this a little bit. I had a consultation a while ago with someone who was, I mean, so negative in so many ways. And, I remember saying at the end of the session, we need to look for the small things that, the things that give us joy, our children. I mean, look out of the window. I look out of my window, the sun is shining, sky is blue. Now, if you're looking out of your window and you're seeing the snow, that's good. If you look out of your window and see anything at all, it's great, because it means you've got your eyesight. There's always something we can be thankful for. There's always something that we can find joy in. So, even if you look outside, it's everything is about attitude. And Al and I are going to be doing our show. What date is it, Chris? I've forgotten. It's in
Monday the 24th at 11 a.m.
Okay, Monday the 24th of March at 11 a.m. Remember, everybody, in America, we're putting the clocks back. So it will be really 10 o'clock in the morning, but we're putting the clocks back, so it'll be 11 o'clock. Anyway, I think that's how it works. I don't know if I said that right or not. I think, are we putting them back, or are we putting them forward? We're putting them forward.
I thought we were losing an hour.
No, I think we're gaining an hour. Anyway, who cares right now? It will be 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And our lovely friend Gary, who's on this morning, will be joining us. And we'll be talking about attitude, and how our attitude towards things is so important to us, and can literally make a difference between living a happy life or not a happy life. And darling, I know you said you live with your negativity, and that's got to be really tough for you. But I don't know how bad it is, but I'm going to suggest that, even somebody who's filled with negativity has to have, I mean, you wouldn't be with him otherwise, has to have something that's good or that's positive. And so if we can just focus on the good in people and the positive in people, it's so hard to do. I was talking to a young woman the other day, and she's having issues with her partner, and she said to me, "Well, why does it always have to be me who makes the effort?" And I said, "Because you're a woman and he's a man. Live with it." It's like, and sometimes things are just as they are, but if all you do is complain, well, it's never. I'm not going to show him affection until he shows me affection. Well, welcome to your miserable life then, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be miserable. Or you can have an attitude of, I don't care about waiting for him. This is what I want. I'm going to tell him. I'm going to show him. And that's what we're going to do. Welcome to your happy life, or at least a happier life than you had while you're hanging around waiting for a man. And yes, I know I sound anti-man. Believe you me, I'm not. But there are men, much more so than women. There are women too, but there are men who are really dim in that department. In that they have, I think, more difficulty in expressing their emotions, because that's how many times do men grow up and and hear the words from their parents or their grandparents. Men don't cry. Men don't show this. It's weak. And unfortunately, men very often are taught that to show emotion and to show love or to show outward affection is a weakness. We are trying to stop that from happening. Let me tell you, my grandson gets all the love in the world, and if he doesn't give it back to me, he's in big trouble. I mean, we teach our grandchild to express himself, which is why he's so good on the piano. And that's another thing that's happening in March, is that on March 15th, my grandson will be playing once again. It'll be his third time, amazingly, it'll be his third time playing at Carnegie Hall in New York City, which is for those of you who don't know what Carnegie is or don't know about New York, it is a huge deal, huge deal. So, but he's so good at showing his emotion in his music as well. So I think we just have to teach our partners to be more loving, and the only way we're going to teach them to be more loving and more expressive is to show them. So all of you women out there who are saying, well, why does it always have to be me, and I'm tired of this, and too bad, it is what it is. So you know, you can either moan and complain about it, or you can say, not waiting any longer for this, and show some love. Even if you get rejected, just keep showing it. You know, I always tell my students, when we talk about family, we talk about friends, we talk about our children, if you don't show it, they don't know it. So it's up to us, and us, the women. And I know there are men here, sorry, Gary, I know there are men watching this. I'm not anti-man, I promise you, but men can be a little bit slow in that department. That's my experience. I'm just mentioning it. All right, quick. Before I get into really serious trouble, let's move on.
All right. Judith came up with a saying. My saying is to stop negative thinking is God is here and all is well. I say it 2 or 3 times if that's what it takes.
Okay, that's great. It's good, but I'm going to educate you all, I think, a little bit. And some of you will know, my students will certainly know this, but I'm going to give you perhaps an understanding of how powerful a mantra can be, because that is somewhat a mantra. But a true mantra is the definition of a mantra is a sequence of words of power, which we will discuss in a few minutes. Chris, any more comments, anything else?
Yes. Kay says, as you are talking, I immediately thought of a beautiful, huge blue wave that washed through my negative thoughts. Am also packing stuff into boxes.
Well, Kay, you're an artist, and actually, everybody, she's an amazing artist. But I think for artists, it's very, very easy to visualize. And so it doesn't surprise me, Kay, when you're saying that you have this blue wave, because it's easy for you to visualize that because you're so artistic and you see things in colors. And a lot of healers, as Kay is, are you my longest standing student? I'm not really sure. We'd have to work about that. We'd have to think about that, wouldn't we? But I think probably yes, you are. But as Kay knows, as healers, we often visualize colors, because visualizing colors is very helpful. It can bring us a lot of peace. It can bring us a lot of tranquility. And again, when we start doing our tutorials, we're going to talk more and more of those things. But I am inclined for today to, because we're talking about mantras, I'm inclined today to maybe think about giving you a mantra, a sequence. Bear this in mind, everybody. A mantra is not just something you say. A mantra is by definition, is a sequence of words of power. So I'll give you a few of these power words. If you don't have a pen or a pencil, I suggest you get one, or play this back and do it, however you want to do it. I'm going to give you words, just a few of them. There are many of them, but I'm going to give you just a few for this show, so this can help you to sort out in your head what power words are there, do we have. So, of course, the first power word is I. I. Me, not I. It's when it's said in a way combined with other words, it's a very powerful word. I. Another power word is will, can, shall. Very positive power words. There are many others. Power words also come in negative form too. And if you keep saying the positive power words, you will find that your energy will grow and increase in positive power. If you continue to say the negative power words, your energy will decrease in power. So I'll give you some of the negative words, and I'll bet many of you use the negative words, these negative words of power, much more so, especially in today's climate, than you do the positive power words. So negative power word, all have power. Some are positive power, some are negative power. So a negative power word is can't, won't. A negative, there are two power words, depending on how they are used, can create positive power or negative power. One is yes, and one is no. When no is used in a negative way, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to go out into the park to go for a walk, blah, 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 whatever, if you want to use it that way. No can be a very powerful negative word and brings negativity to you. But no, no, I am not going to be drawn into your argument. No, I am not going to become more negative, becomes a very positive power word. Do you see what I'm trying to say to you? So sometimes the way these words are used, they will bring power to you. They will create power within you. You can create power within you. So, and of course, the word yes can be a very powerful, positive word or a very powerful negative word. So it depends how you use these things. So I'm going to give you my mantra, my personal mantra. Remember, it is a sequence of words of power. So it has to be, you have to put these power words into a sentence. The sentence can be no more than 3 words, or it shouldn't be more than perhaps 10 words. I mean, you've got to limit it, because we're trying to put something in our head that we can use and not have to think about it now. How does it go? What did I say? What am I supposed to say? So here is my own personal mantra, which I'm sharing with you. You can steal it from me if you want. You can use it for yourself, or you can think about what you want to say. But okay, here we go. So my personal mantra, and I'm very positive with the I, I'm very positive how I say it. I will, powerful, positive word. I will. Put those 2 words together. You've already created a positive. You've already created power. I will lift my face to the sun, and all good things will come to me. And as you're saying the mantra, you have to emphasize the power word. So if I was to say it, I will lift my face to the sun, and all good things will come to me. And now, so that is my mantra. Okay. So a sequence of words of power. So now a mantra, a true mantra, and I tell my students this, a mantra, if it's going to be effective, you repeat it 10 times over. So I will lift my face to the sun and all good things will come to me. I will lift my face to the sun and all good things will come to me. So you emphasize on the power words and you do that 10 times over. And I suggest you do it 3 times a day. So you can do it first thing in the morning when you get up. You can be doing it when you're in the shower. You don't need to meditate. Don't have to put yourself in that spot. You just do it, making toast or making bacon and eggs or whatever it is. You do it anytime, and then sort of sometime in the middle of the day, you need to remind yourself, okay, I need some good stuff going on here. I'm getting down that negative road here. God, I can listen to myself. I can't stand my moaning sometimes. So I'll do it middle of the day, and I always try to do it sometime prior to bedtime. Probably as I'm getting ready for bed and, sort of stepping out of the shower or even in the shower or just climbing into bed or put your head on the pillow and say whatever, it doesn't matter. When I say repeat it 10 times a day, it's just a very simple exercise. To do it takes 5 minutes, maybe. 3 times a day is 15 minutes in a 24-hour day. 24-hour day. Come on. Who can't do that? So you have to find a sequence of words of power and thread them into your life and into what you're trying to do with yourself. So I just shared my words with you, and with Judith, I like what she's saying. I would like it better if there was a power word or two in there. So I've forgotten what she said she says, but can't remember what she said to herself. I can't remember now the words, but she needs to inject at least 1 or 2 power words into that in order for it to be even more effective.
Judith said, God is here and all is well.
Okay. So that's power word, I know. And when you say that I know, K-N-O-W, you all know that. I know. When you put I and know together, it becomes power. I know that God is here. And what was the next bit? What was the second half of that?
And all is well.
Okay. Well, you can leave it at that, but you've got 2 power words in there, which make it more powerful. It makes it more powerful for you too. Or you can say, and I know all is well. However you want to do it. Or you can stick to what you're doing if it's working for you. Why wouldn't you not stick to it? But when you put power words into a mantra, when you use power words, they become more effective, because as you say them, you are emphasizing the power word will, I shall, I can do this, I will do this. As you're saying it, not only are you creating a more powerful energy within you, but you're also attracting more powerful energy to you. So the whole thing becomes more effective, much more effective. And repeating it, and as you repeat it, you'll find that sometimes you'll emphasize the words one way, sometimes the other, but you've got to say it, those power words, you've got to use those power words as your power. I will, I can, I shall do this. So remember, though, that when you use words negatively, can't, won't, don't, if you use them negatively, they will draw the same thing. They will draw the negative power to you, and that's not a good thing. Okay, Chris, let's have some comments here. We're having a lesson here. morning, which we didn't expect to have, but here we go.
Annika says, I have started to unfollow and unfriend, quote, friends on Facebook that
Oh,
post negative things or things I find that irritate me. This is her spring cleaning.
I like that. I like it a lot. You know, sometimes it's painful. I mean, I value friends. Um, I have, I think, more friends, good friends, than so many people do. I'm very fortunate in my friendships because when I look at my friends, I mean, I look at Kay, I've known Kay since we were both in our 20s. Maybe she was maybe even only 18 or 19 when she first came to see me, and here we are, we're old ladies now. I'm older than she is, but still, you know, here we are, old ladies, but we have a friendship which is, and I also have that friendship with her three girls who I like to think of myself as the surrogate mother to them. They always came to me if they needed something and they needed help or advice. And you know, we have really good friends who, you know, even if you don't talk to them for a while, you know that they'll be there for you. If you need them, they will be there for you. And then of course it's easy to have lots of what I would call fair weather friends, people who, you know, just amazingly you might think of as friends, and then all of a sudden you might realize not so much friends, only when it suits or only when they need something or what have you. And it's hard to cut out friendships, but if those people are not on your wavelength or they just insist on being negative all the time, there comes a point where I think it's a good thing to have a spring cleaning, because you cannot let other people's negativity seep into you. And I think that's what happens. It happens on Facebook, it happens on Instagram. You hear these awful things that people say, and it's really time it stopped. And I applaud what you're doing. I know it must be difficult for you because, you know, when when you really start to sort of whittle your friendships down, if you're not careful, you're not going to have too many friends left. But I always feel that one or two friends, good friends, real friends, are far better than the 10 or the 20 or the 50 you might have that are not real friends at all. So good for you. Keep going with the spring cleaning.
Kathy says to take a cleansing breath.
Yes, but Kathy, it's that I know what you mean, but what does it actually mean? You okay? It's like when I'm teaching my students, and I like what you're saying, and I understand why you're saying it. I'm not belittling what you're saying by any means. I think it's good to take a cleansing breath, but most people don't even know what it is. How do we do that then? What are we supposed to breathe deeply or breathe what we say? How are we supposed to do that? And I always, when I'm applying my teaching to people, I remember, because you all know, I'm a cook. We have a cooking session on Sunday, by the way, and we, you know, so it's all very well saying, okay, I want you to make a chocolate cake. You're going to say to me, well, give me the recipe then. If I don't give you the recipe, you can't make the chocolate cake. If you don't know how, if you can't explain to people what it is and how it is and what it means to take a cleansing breath, they've got no clue as to what it is they're supposed to do. So you have to be a little bit more specific when you're explaining to people, not on this show, but when you explain to people about taking that cleansing breath, you need to be able to describe to them. I'm sure you do that, but you need to be able to describe to them what exactly is it that you mean by that. And also remember, you know, my chocolate cake is probably a basic chocolate. No, not so much. That's not true. My chocolate cake is perhaps very different from somebody else's chocolate cake. They taste equally good or not. But my recipe might be a little different than your recipe. And I was so astounded yesterday. I'm going to tell this on TV on this show. I'm going to tell you, right, here we go. I'm going to say this out loud. So we're having a cooking show on Sunday, and I'm going to show you how to make an Irish stew. Now, a true Irish stew contains, as all of you lovely Irish people will know, it contains potatoes and root vegetables, meaning carrots, parsnips, probably perhaps swede or something. Vegetables that grow roots into the earth is what an Irish stew, and of course onions, what an Irish stew is made of. Now, in my newsletter, you got the recipe. So for those of you who want to join me, if you want to add carrots and potatoes and all of that, I'm only calling it an Irish stew because it is St. Patrick's Day. It's not really an Irish, I'm not making an Irish stew, but as I make the stew for you, I will tell you what ingredients to put in and how to do that. So that, and you've got the recipe. I think we forgot to put potatoes in that recipe, but I mean, a good Irish stew has a few sort of good potatoes in there as well. But anyway, so I am making a rosemary stew, which is, I don't know what you'd call it, maybe a little bit more like a stroganoff or a beef bourguignon or something, but not even those things either. This is just a me stew. So anyway, now in the afternoon, now Chris is coming to film all of that and to help me with that. And she's probably going to take the stew home with her because I'm leaving next week to go to New York. But okay, just so in the afternoon we're making marmalade because years ago I used to make marmalade, and I can never ever find a marmalade that is good enough for me because I like it dark and chunky, and so I put in a special ingredient, right? And I've made this marmalade for years and years and years, but I haven't made it for a long, long time because trying to get several oranges, from Seville in Spain, trying to get several oranges, it has been a nightmare because nobody grows them here. Because they are bitter, you can take them off the tree, and normally you can take an orange and eat it, and it's delicious. And you take several oranges off a tree, and it's so bitter, but it makes the best marmalade. So I got my recipe. I know exactly what I'm doing, and then my friend Chris sends me what did you send me? A recipe for a simple marmalade. Well, you go ahead and make it then. How can she think that simple marmalade is going to be as good as the marmalade that I'm making? Because I like mine dark and chunky, and this quick marmalade was not dark and chunky. But I do put an ingredient in there. I'll tell you in my marmalade that you probably won't find in any other marmalade that you're going to be making. Maybe you will, but anyway, I have a special ingredient that goes into my marmalade. When we are doing our cooking show, we're also going to be filming, after the cooking show, we're going to be filming me making this beautiful, dark, thick, chunky marmalade, which makes the best duck sauce you will ever eat. It is delicious. When I have people to dinner, I'm making this sauce. All they want to do is just to eat the sauce, and my daughter will eat it all by itself on its own, but it is the best sauce. In order to make it, you got to have this really dark, chunky marmalade. Anyway, enough of that, enough of cooking. I don't know why I'm on with this at all. What? Tell me to stop. I'm stopping. Let's have some comments or questions or whatever it is.
All right, let me scoot back up to the top. There were some questions that came in unrelated to this topic. So let's see. Judith asks,
would that topic be spring cleaning? Would it be mantras? Would it be cooking? What would this topic be?
That's why we all show up every Thursday, Rosemary, because we never know what the topic's going to be.
Go ahead.
All right. So Judith says, Rosemary, if a person passes over while suffering from Alzheimer's, do they suddenly find themselves alert and aware, or does it take a while? Thank you.
Okay, great question. Okay, I have had many patients who have Alzheimer's, and trust me, they may not be able to verbalize, maybe on a physical level, they don't remember, or they are struggling with memory and they're struggling with other things as well, physically. But for every single person, every single patient that I've had who has Alzheimer's, when you look beyond the physical to the soul, to the spirit, to the heartbeat of the soul, when you listen to the heartbeat of the soul of that person, there is absolutely no doubt that they know exactly what is going on. They can't necessarily on a physical level uh, do anything about it, but on a spiritual level, those people are traveling and experiencing, and they're connecting with their loved ones in the spirit world. They are knowing, so they have so much knowing within them. You just have to know how to reach them, and we're so busy trying to reach for them in a physical way. We're so busy trying to deal with their physical circumstances, we're forgetting the most important thing. We are spiritual beings. Teal Hardejazan says this, I can never say that name properly. That's his quote. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's his quote. Exactly right. But I always like to add, in the same as any recipe I have, somebody gives me a recipe, I've got to add or change or tweak it or whatever. I always like to add my own part to that quote, which is, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, my part, and hopefully in a spiritual way. So when I'm dealing with my Alzheimer patients, I'm dealing with them on a completely different level. And you would be amazed. They are knowing. They haven't lost their memory. They have lost their capacity. They have lost their capability on a physical level to be able to communicate, to maybe to remember, to sort of the confusion that goes along with Alzheimer's is a physical thing, not a spiritual thing at all. And I've had many fantastic and amazing conversations with Alzheimer patients, but connecting with the soul, connecting with the spirit. And it's amazing. It's amazing. So when you say, will they remember? Of course, they're not, they haven't forgotten. They are just incapable on a physical level. Their physical self has deteriorated, and they're not able in a physical sense to use, what we normally use. But on a spiritual level, they are very much aware, so much more aware than they were when they were just using their physical capabilities. So much more than that. And it's the, so I if you sit with someone who has Alzheimer's, and you're careful and you pay attention and you look beyond the physical to the spiritual, you will be able to connect in a way that you never thought was possible. Chris.
All right. Marina says, I lost my father because of an accident. I couldn't tell him how I love him.
Well, my darling, I'm sure he knows now, because, and I'm so sorry for your loss, but I'm sure that he's watching you. I'm sure he's watching over you. And I'm pretty certain he sees and hears. Our show is called The Spirit World Sees All. And it does. And they are around, and they will let us know absolutely, one way or another, that they are with us if we pay attention, if we listen, if we carefully listen to what they have to say to us, they will let us know absolutely that they are with us. And I'm sure that He knows truly, absolutely, exactly how much you love Him. Chris.
She had added, I'm reading your book and I'm trying to learn how to meditate with the blue flower.
Okay. All right. We are going to, as I say, we keep talking about these tutorials. I've had somebody else this week saying to me, I meditate, but it's so hard. It's so hard. And it takes so much time. And I'm chuckling away to myself because meditation really isn't hard. It's, and most people don't meditate. Most people contemplate, just letting you know. But when we come to the tutorials, we'll talk much more about that and how simple and easy it is. And my suggestion is, I'm thrilled that you're doing the meditation. I'm thrilled that you're doing that because it's really, it's a, you know, it's very helpful in that it will allow you to eventually raise your level of consciousness to a whole different level where you'll be able to connect much more with your own spiritual self and your own spiritual growth. But 10 to 15 minutes, you know, just time it. You don't need to, you don't, people tell me, oh, I'm meditated for 5 hours every morning and get up at now. I'm thinking, what for? Because they're not meditating, they're contemplating. There's a huge difference. You know, meditation is when you become in that state of higher awareness. Contemplation is when you might think you're becoming in that state of, and then all of a sudden these little thoughts come in. What, oh, you know, what am I having for dinner? Or, oh, does the cat need feeding? Or you know, contemplation is a whole different thing, and so many people don't know the difference. So the tutorials I will help you with. Please let us know how you get on with it. I'm very curious to know. Chris.
Serena says, hello, Rosemary. I am praying to the angels to help me find a better job. I have the impression that nobody is collecting my request up there.
I love it. Yes, they are. They're just waiting for the right time. Um, you know, um, you have to just put your energy out there. I suggest that you have a mantra using power words. Mantra, remember, is a sequence of words of power. I can, I will, it will, I shall. All of these words of power. And if you say a mantra, even if you only say it once a day in the morning, uh, it's better if you say it more often, but if you say it once in the morning, but I have a mantra that pertains to, you know, a new job. I, you know, I will find work that I love and enjoy. I will find a new job. I can do this. Put it out there into the universe and, but be proactive with it. You know, say your mantra. Help, you know, your angels need your help in this. You know, they're not, it's not Tinkerbell we're talking about, you know, it's not Peter Pan's Tinkerbell. Don't have a magic wand here. We have to put in the energy ourselves as well. And so, you know, so I'm going to suggest you do that, and I'm pretty certain that it will work. Chris.
Wanda says, in our last consultation, you told me that something was coming my way that was going to be bigger than anything in my past. We
Oops.
just purchased a remote property in the area we talked about. Is this it?
Sounds like it to me. What do you think, Wanda? Sounds like it to me. Are you excited? Oh, great. Fabulous. Bigger than anything you could imagine. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to be positive about it. I want you to just let fly, you know? Be a phoenix. Be just, you know, shed all the old and get rid of the old and fly like a beautiful phoenix into the sky. Chris.
All right. There are a couple of comments about Reese at Carnegie Hall. So Chloe says, this is amazing, Reese.
Thank
Tammy
you.
says, that's incredible. Oh, wow. I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
I know, me too.
And Lonica says, wow.
I know. He's amazing. This child is amazing. I mean, if you hear him play, he just did a concert for he's joined the school orchestra. I mean, he just turned 12 years old just 2 weeks ago. I mean, he plays remarkably, remarkably. Of course, I'm his grandmother going to say that, but thank you for your comments. I appreciate them.
I
Okay,
agree.
Chris.
I heard him in your home. I agree. He transports you to a different place.
I know, I know.
All right.
We went to an aquarium when he was here, and on the top floor, weirdly, there was a big room. I think it must have been a place where, you know, to take children to play or something. They had mats on the floor and they had a piano. And, you know, nobody was playing the piano. So I said to Reese, you know, do you want to do a bit of your practice? There you go. You can do that. And the next thing, there was this lovely crowd gathered, and he played the piece that he's playing, going to be playing at Carnegie. And, you know, and people were standing up and watching him, and they applauded him afterwards. And he's a very shy little boy, and he's sort of, you know, just thank you and thank you. And then we were in the gift shop later on, and this older guy came up to us, and he said to me, he said, he should be on what is it, that show? He should be on Britain's, on America's Got, sorry, not Britain, America's Got Talent. He should be on America's Got Talent because he's got talent. So yeah, so wherever he goes, I think it's a wonderful thing when people play music because they can bring joy to anybody who listens. So yes, so anyway, keep going, Chris.
All right. I'm aware that we're at time. I have so many questions in the chat room. Oh, where did you go? Let's see. Let's see if she can log back in. No, it's showing she's logged in. We'll give it a minute here. Oh, there you are. Oh.
Get off of my show.
Did a call come in and knock you off?
That was my daughter. Sorry. I said, get
All
off
right.
of my show. I'll have to call her
Well, I
back.
was saying, I'm aware we're at time. There's so many questions in the chat room still to be answered, but you had also said here today that you were going to leave us with a mantra. So I'm not sure where you want to go from here time-wise.
Well, I just gave you my mantra. So I'm leaving you with that. I'll say it again. I is important. I will. 2 power words. I will lift my face to the sun, and all good things will come to me. Power words, a sequence of words of power. I will lift my face to the sun, and all good things will come to me. And I use that mantra, and I use that mantra quite often. You can use mine, or you can whatever you want. But let me tell you, when you say a mantra, a positive, powerful mantra, whether it's mine or you choose to make up your own, it will knock out any negative thought. I will, when I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling miserable, if I'm feeling lonely, if I'm feeling depressed, if my back is out and I'm thinking, oh, so this is so exhausting. I will lift my face to the sun. In other words, I'm going to be looking up. I'm going to be looking at that God force. I'm going to be bringing the sun. I'm going to be bringing the light into my life. I will lift my face to the sun, and all good things will come to me. And it works. It works. It knocks out all of the negativity, and it brings spring cleaning into your heart, into your soul, into your mind. So that's what I'm leaving you with. If you want to do, if you have time, if you want to do a couple more questions, but we'll answer them, but very briefly. But I'm also thinking, if you join us on Sunday, those of you who didn't get questions answered, it will be live. We will, not the orange marmalade part of it, but the Irish stew, which isn't really an Irish stew. We're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. But anyway, so we can take the odd question on the cooking show as well. So very quickly, do you have a couple of questions you'd like to ask?
James says, I am looking to buy solar panels for the house. It's expensive. Do you think it's a good move, or should I wait or not get them at all?
James, I'd love to answer you, but I know nothing about them. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to do your research and make your own decision here about it. I don't see any harm in them, but I know nothing about them. I mean, I know that it's sort of pure energy. I don't know if the expense is worth it. I've no idea. So I'm sorry. I'd love to be able to answer the question, but I can't. Chris.
Tammy says, I am currently packing up to move. I'm praying that I find a safe new apartment.
Without a doubt, it might take a little while, but without a doubt, you're going to be so much better than you are now. The word trauma, because it is traumatic moving, it's traumatic leaving, it's traumatic going to a different place. The word trauma simply means change, and change is a good thing if we take our positivity with us. I will lift my face to the sun, and all good things will come to me. Try that. Another one, Chris?
Andrea asks, for how long do spirits stay with us? Can we, quote, feel the difference once they're not with us?
Why would they leave us? I'm not quite sure. Depends who it is and what else they have planned and so on and so forth. But, as long as we're receptive to them and as long as we want them around us, then of course our loved ones want to be with us. There's no time limit here.
Rhonda says, last year when we did a Gray Eagle Speaks, he gave me a beautiful mantra to use against negativity. I will lift my face to the sky and I will soar like the phoenix. I love my mantra from Gray Eagle.
Didn't I just tell somebody to fly like a phoenix this morning?
You did.
Who would that be? I can't remember. Anyway, I love that. But you do know, don't you, Rhonda, the power words are important. I will lift my face to the sky, and I will fly like a phoenix, and I know that you will do all of that. Those power words, as you say them, will need emphasis. I didn't know Grey Eagle gave you a mantra. I always tell my students, find your own. And here I am giving you mine. So very similar. Okay, keep going.
Sarah says, I have just received approval for Indigenous Metis citizenship in California. Just wondering if you or Gray Eagle can see my spirit guide.
We unfortunately, Chris, we can't take questions like that because we know that. But I'm going to tell you to look to your grandparents to find those who guide you. Look to the elders, Gray Eagle says. Look to the elders. Chris.
Joanne says we are having really bad weather here. Will everyone be okay? Thanks.
Oh, well, okay. I get that you say that you're having bad weather, but if we're being positive, as I said, it could be snowing, it could be windy, it could be whatever it is. It's nature's way of clearing out. It's nature's way of I don't know what they're doing, but is there such a thing as bad weather? It might be bad weather for us, but not so bad for other people. So I think the question was, will you be okay? And definitely, we had what we would call bad weather with the hurricane a few months ago, and so much that we had so much devastation. But what came out of it was all of those people who rallied, all of those people who helped, all of those people who just came, and all of the good wishes that we had from people. So I am to hopefully help your life a little bit and make your life a little bit better. I am going to be sending my prayers and my good wishes to you, to hope to maybe abate the weather a little bit, maybe to, let's see if we can change it a little, let's see if we can make it a little better for you. That's a positive, right? Chris, we got one more.
Megan says, I have a question for Gray Eagle. We have had an owl visit us pretty often. He wakes me up often out of my window.
Nice.
My husband sees an owl sometimes. Our eldest daughter spotted him. Is there a message?
Yeah, of course there's a message. You know, large birds, and an owl is such a, you know, we know that apparently owls are known to be wise. Whether or not they are, who knows, but really. But large birds are very important, and they are always, when we see them, they're always coming to us, especially when they sit outside our window or they sit in a certain spot where we can absolutely see them. And when I see large birds, I always feel so great, especially I look for falcons, and of course I look for eagles, and I always feel that, you know, the natives have a saying. They talk about our butterflies, our dragonflies, our birds, the bees, I guess. They refer to them as those tiny winged creatures. And very often, you know, someone in the spirit world, someone who loves you, perhaps someone who's taking care of you, will whisper to one of those winged creatures. In this case, it is your owl. Will you take a message for me? So when you see this kind of thing, it isn't that your loved ones in the spirit world become the owl. The owl is bringing a message. They're bringing a message to you from your loved ones, and so the best thing you can do is to acknowledge and to say thank you. Okay, great. And the message is basically always to a reassurance. It's a, we're with you, we're here with you, we want you to know that we see you. And you know, owls are such fabulous birds. And so, boy, are you being given a gift. So I think the owl is just allowing you to see that your loved ones in the spirit world are sending you messages and letting you know that they're with you. How nice is that? All right, that's it, Chris. I think that's a great question to end on. So, all right. So let me do a little housekeeping. This week we are going to be doing Everything is Attitude with Al on whenever that is. I'm sure you go to the website www.rosemaryaltea.com, and you'll find the date for that. We have a guest on. We're going to have Gary, who's going to be talking to us about how seeing his angel and talking to his angel, or rather his angel talking to him, has changed his attitude, because everything is attitude. On Sunday morning, I'm going to be making my Irish to 11 a.m. Remember the time change difference, but it will be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, New York time is what I always tell people, so you can check that out. I'll be cooking up a storm. Yes, I love this. I love this stew. I'm hoping you'll love it too. Anyway, we'll be cooking up a storm at 11 a.m. and then Chris and I'll be making marmalade, and we will be showing you the. When I say Chris and I'll be making marmalade, she's going to be doing the pipping, taking all the pips out and all that stuff. I'm giving her the rotten job to do. Just kidding. Anyway, we're going to be making marmalade, and we will send that video out at some point in the future so you can see And I will tell you what my very special ingredient is that just tips it over the edge into really delicious, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So until I said, and of course next week we'll be back again on Thursday. I will be in New York at that time, because that following Saturday is when my grandson is playing at Carnegie, so I'll be in New York at that time. So until I see you again next week in New York City, please everybody have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and have a very, very blessed weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.